Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and or nonprofits. So here he is today, giving you just the facts. Trump versus Biden with Jay. Take it away.
Biden versus Trump.
It says Trump versus Biden. It's supposed to be non-biased.
Yes, it's supposed to be non-biased.
So
I was looking at the table of contents for the Democratic National Convention, their platform, building stronger, fairer economy, and it says protecting workers and families, creating millions of jobs across America. What I noticed here, my opinion about the Democratic Party is what we'll have is more of what we had. It's come to a head now during Trump's administration, but what we'll have more of is that the changing of our language to better represent minorities, the LGBTQ community. It'll better represent people like women working in America, seeing that their choices to have and grow and raise families will not affect them economically. So basically a more level playing field as far as pay goes for women taking leave for family matters, where men who stay at work and work and you know they're going to basically part of their pay will go to women who are choosing to grow families and stuff like that. And we'll have a lot of the changing of our language. So, you know, the thing about gender equality and all the different gender descriptions that we have, a lot of that stuff will all come back to the forefront, and it'll be brought back up. And a 21st century immigration system, so they want to be more inclusive and have more immigrants come into our country, which I think is a really good thing as long as it's done legally. But I think illegal immigration is one that they neglect to talk about the issues and problems that we have there. Reviewing American leadership, revitalizing American diplomacy. So I think we would see a lot of reverting back to the deals that we were making with Iran, the less confrontational with China. I'm sure we'll have a lot of less confrontation with China, and we'll revert a lot back to the economic system, you know, that we had. They wanted to have a more of a one world economic system. So what we'd see is a lot more of the leveling off and the balancing out of the different advantages and disadvantages that we have, and taking from those who have had advantage to give that advantage to those who haven't had it. And but then on the Republican side, the economics of their system would give advantage to the big corporations. The small businesses are the highest employment in our country is through small business. And so they haven't done such a great job at helping them. It's been because it's such a big segment of the market, and they can save more jobs by helping the big businesses right now, the big corporations, because they employ so many and they can do a lot. Gosh, I really am not. I'm not thrilled about this kind of show. It's very difficult for me to do. I'm not a politically. I mean, I have my own opinions about a lot of this stuff, but so I think right now, with our economy the way it is, the Democratic Party would do a lot of taxing. They would raise taxes and try to recover our economy through taxation, whereas the Republican Party would try to recover our economy through business. The Republicans have done a lot of they've so with China's plan to take over world economy they've really come down on them, and that's created a really unstable environment in our our political environment. There's a lot going on in the South China Sea right now with Taiwan and all that stuff, which was kind of a still boiling below the surface, but it was quiet. You know what I mean? There wasn't such a big risk
Now there's
of
vinegar
there being
on
an
the,
actual confrontation.
Now somebody sprayed vinegar on the wound, essentially.
Yeah, and I think so, and I think China wasn't prepared yet to do things like take Taiwan, and they were building those islands out in the South China Sea, and still are actually building military bases to expand their power over the South China Sea and through the Pacific. So there's a lot of things that have happened there, and it's just there's so much going on in the world today, and it's so complicated. A lot of that stuff was going on anyway. So I think with the Republican Party, they're going to focus on the powers, the big powers that threaten us, and a lot of the underlying things that were going on that were quiet because people were being appeased are not going to be so quiet. The expansion of peace in the Middle East is an amazing thing that we can expect more of that to happen through economic pressure. And then the Democratic Party, I think if they win, we will have more building nations in Africa. We'll have a lot of gosh, quite frankly, I don't have much faith in government and politics right now, and I don't really expect a lot to get done. Look at what Trump tried to do while he was in office, right? He did get the Affordable Care Act squashed, and a lot of that was changed, which was really hurting a lot of low-income families because they had that where they had to pay in if they didn't get insurance, and if they did get insurance was so expensive. So that was a real problem, and I'm glad that they did away with that. I think that was the number one thing that was for low income and in the range of income where I was sitting and the people that I was conversing with. See, I don't have a very broad perspective as far as the different incomes. I don't know a lot of middle class. I don't know a lot of upper class people, and don't really have much relationship with them. So I don't know what their opinions of it were. I know that the Affordable Care Act was really hurting low income people, tremendously. And I don't think healthcare really improved. I think it got worse. I think it got a lot worse. It was harder to get seen, and doctors seemed a little bit more disgusted with their patients, I think. So
I know it's hard. It's hard to do this and remain non-biased.
Yeah,
but you are giving it a really good. I mean, I think you're doing well.
I have problems on both sides of it. I think that the problem we have when we go into politics is that we're fed what the plans are of the parties, and I think that's a real problem. I think both of the parties try to dictate. They dictate what the discussion is and what the solutions are. They're not looking for creative ways to solve real problems, in my opinion, on either side of it. When it comes to healthcare, there's a lot of abuse, overcharging in healthcare. But then there's a lot of expense also in becoming a doctor. There's got to be some kind of a way of taking out a lot of the expense of an education. But then doctors that I've known, I don't know doctors, but the doctors who are the people I do know who are close to doctors, family members and stuff like that, they seem to be doing pretty well, especially later in life.
Yeah.
So education's expensive. But if you succeed in the field that you studied in and you advance the field that you studied in, then I think you'll do pretty well. If you're just looking to go into a field that requires expensive education just so you can make a lot of money, and you don't really have a great interest in that, and you don't really have a good aptitude for it, you probably have wasted your education, your money for education.
Other than that, it's an investment.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, and then it's just like the stock market. There's a chance you could lose.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a good chance that you'll lose some and you'll win some. But as far as being at the top of your game, being interested in the field that you're studying and doing the best that you can in that field, having an aptitude for it, you know, you're gonna do well. And this is America, and it's a good place to do well if you have an interest and you have an opportunity to go and get educated in that field, and you find that you do enjoy it, have aptitude for it, and you work hard in that industry to, you know, but as far as laymen go and just out working in the general public, I see a mix of that too. Some companies are so overworked they can't get employees. They're paying a lot of money, but they just can't get people to come to work. And so the people that are there working now are working too many hours. They're working their lives away. And they really need more employees. Then I see other companies that are going out of business. And that's a scary situation for them. So it's an interesting place that we are in the world today, and I see both advantages and disadvantages. You know, I would really like to see some of the third world countries be brought up into democracy, but not the way we dealt with China. You know, I'd like to see things like civics come back and actual home economics. You know, I don't think we're training our children well to grow up and be independent and be positioning themselves in a way that gives them an opportunity that allows them to take advantage of what opportunities come their way. Most people are saddled in debt. Our economic system, the way it works on debt. You know, there's a lot of inherent problems there. There has to be a middle ground where we manage our debt and still maintain our independence and keep ourselves in a position where we can take advantage of opportunities that come our way. I mean, how often, as low income in my life, I've seen a lot of opportunities. I mean, I could have bought a cheap car that was in good shape at times in my life and sold it and made money on it. But I didn't have the money to buy the car. You know, we're not teaching our children right now to manage their debt well in school. We're not teaching children to manage a household very well. We're not giving them an accurate description of what life is going to be like when they get out on their own. You know, and I think that we've really dropped the ball there and failed. And I don't not necessarily dropped the ball and failed, but more that it's designed that way. With our banking systems and our economic systems, our consumer society that we have, I think it's an advantage for people to get out of school being a little bit ignorant about how things work, so they make the big mistakes and they pay the big prices for all, you know, for everything. They stay in debt for a good portion of their life. I think that's kind of how our economy runs. And really, if we were to change that, if we went back to civic duty, you know, people serving their communities, went back to people learning how to balance a checkbook, really understanding the expense and the cost of debts that they incur in their young part of their life and how those debts keep them down. If we taught our children that and they were really well prepared to keep themselves in a position that gave them advantage and gave them an opportunity, made them able to take advantage of an opportunity when it came along, that I think our economic plan that keeps us so powerful and so profitable in the world would change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would we lose power as far as that goes? You know, would we? I don't know. I think our founding fathers had the right idea when they wrote our Constitution, that we have inalienable God-given rights. We have a right to protect ourselves and our property. We have a right to free speech, to say whatever we believe in, and to do that openly, and to be and for other people to have the right to challenge those ideas and those beliefs, so that we can all go through the struggle to understand one another and to grow and learn and make the world a better place. I think we really have great founding documents. The government that we have right now has so complicated things that I think there's an issue there where the people need to take back the power from the government. And I'm not saying that we need a revolution, but somehow the parties are putting up the people that they want to succeed, and those people make deals and have to follow certain party lines, which I think has really failed us. I think our politicians have drastically failed us today, and we need to see people put up to run by communities who trust the people that they're putting up. You know,
That's what it goes. That's what it boils down to.
we need to also get lobbyists need to be held accountable for when and you know, there's been so many laws broken. At least to us, they seem like, well, you know, what would happen to us if we were found to be doing some of the things that these other people are doing, these powerful people are doing. And there needs to be some reform in that. And it seems like there's a double standard where people of power and wealth are not held to the same standard of accountability that the layman is, the person who's kind of defenseless.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that double standard makes us all feel like things are slipping away from us, I think, in some way or another. I would say it's very important to get out and vote. Understand the issues. Don't go by what the media tells you. You know, they're so biased in the world today right now. Right now we have serious economic plans. I think for economic recovery, probably the Republicans are the best ones to have in office right now, in my opinion, because they'll do a better job at economic recovery. But at the same time, I think that we'll also see the advantage to go to those with wealth and power through them. And there'll be a time when we need to take that back and then focus again on the minorities. Our government is designed to work that way. It's designed with those powers and those opposing sides to struggle against one another so that neither one gets so much power. But I think in the process of that, our government, and through all the backroom deals, it seems like there's so much corruption in government right now that really they're putting out these high emotional topics and bringing it all to our front door, taking some things that are happening to a few, making us feel like it's happening to all of us, pumping up our emotional responses to all the issues to keep us distracted from the work that they're doing behind the scenes, which is really for themselves. And I think it would work better if they were replaced. We have an election coming up in just a few days that's for our presidency. But then in 2 years, there's going to be one for our for other offices, and those are important,
Congress,
just as important. Congress, the Senate.
if not more so.
And it's very important to get out there and vote, you know. And we need to vote because those people represent us. They need to know if a higher percentage of people actually go out and vote, then they know that there's a higher percentage of the public that is watching. So I think the most important thing you can do, it doesn't matter who you vote for too much, in my opinion. What matters most is that you vote.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If we have 300 million people in America and 100 million people vote, they know that the other 200 million who didn't vote are paying attention. 1 in 3 people interested enough in politics and in our government and in our country and in the world around us that we would go out and express our opinions through our vote would give them a very powerful message that we're watching. You know, I have a lot of political opinions, and my side, I change my side depending on who I think has too much
seconds.
power. So get out and vote. That is the most important thing you can do. It tells our politicians that we're watching and that it's important to us, and it puts them really on the hot seat that we expect there to be results. And I don't mean just this election. I don't mean just the next one. Get out and vote in every election that you have a right to vote in, and continue to do that as a way of life, as a civic duty, because that's how they know we're watching. That's how they know they'll be held accountable.
Oh, okay. So you were done. All right. So thanks for joining us on Trump versus, or just the facts, Biden versus Trump, or Trump versus Biden, whatever you wish to call it.
Yeah.
Be
Get
sure
out
and
vote.
Be sure and tune in next for the morning drive. If it's in the morning, if you're watching this in the morning, we'll be coming up next, followed by a couple of other shows. But thanks again. Jay, thank you for being here and doing this.
I apologize. I wish I had done better. I'm not as studious about these things, and it's hard to find facts that you can trust.
All right. Well, thank you.
You know?
We'll see you later, everybody.